I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. I think we may be listening live to Tribulation Trump's statement. As you know, his bond has been reduced and he's been in trial court this morning. So let's see if we got him coming up live, Mr. Engineer.
I don't know that you're going to have the trial. I don't know how you can have a trial like this in the middle of an election, a presidential election. And this is a Biden trial. These are all Biden trials because Colangelo worked for Biden. Can you imagine they take a guy out of DOJ and they put him into the Attorney General's office and then into the Manhattan DA's office to go after Trump? These are all Biden trials. So I don't know that you're going to have it. I think we're going to get some court rulings. Yeah, please.
But will you testify if that trial goes forward in 3
I would have no problem testifying. I didn't do anything wrong.
And would you be concerned that a conviction, if you are convicted in that trial, could cost you the election, given what Todd said voters are...
Well, it could also make me more popular because the people know it's a scam. It's a Biden trial. This is a Biden. There is no trial. There's a Biden trial. Colangelo, the man who stood up, had the nerve to actually stand up and take over. You know, he's been sitting in the background for the last year. Today he went right up front because they figure he buffaloed the whole public and the writers, including you people. He got them buffaloed. They forgot. They didn't, a little while ago. Time sort of people forget with time. They don't have good memories. I do. They don't have good memories. But Colangelo from the DOJ was put there to go after Trump.
I want you to look me in the eye, and I want you to see me. You're looking at a man who has been appointed by the devil, Satan, that dragon that is referred to throughout the scriptures. You're looking at someone who has been appointed by the devil to serve him. And what Almighty God has done has named him as the trigger of the prophecy of the tribulation. Think about the tribulation or any prophetic event along these lines. For Jesus to say in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 24, that there will be a tribulation, there will be wars and rumors of wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. In the abstract, those are just words. Someone's going to have to actually fire the first shot and start a war. Some king is going to have to oppose another king to have kingdoms against kingdoms and nations against nations. These are political issues. Both the wars, the kingdom, and nation against nation are the political statements that Jesus made. Now, there are geographical statements within the tribulation breakdown. There are humanity statements within. By geographical statements, I mean there will be earthquakes in diverse places, referring rightly to the earth as a geographical statement. So when you break down nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, earthquakes in diverse places, pestilence and famines, you get three categories. You get a political category that Jesus is referencing, and not in the abstract. Then there is the geographical, if you will, breakdown of earthquakes, and then there's the humanity crisis, both the famines and the pestilences. And then Jesus goes on in the prophecy of the tribulation to talk about the spiritual aspect. So far, he's covered basically the political, kingdom against kingdom, nation wars, geographical earthquakes in diverse places. I know I'm putting those not in the same order, and then famines and pestilence. Then he goes into talk about false prophets and how they're going to be many. Then he goes into the spiritual dynamic. Now, those are words, if we say just in the abstract. By that, I mean there are words, but there are no participants, there are no movers, there are no kings that we know of. These are just words in the abstract that have been pulled out of the abstract and just placed into our hearing or our seeing. But they're not just words in the abstract. Someone has to be able to make those words in the here and now and to make them existential. Now, I know I'm using a whole lot of fancy words, but quite frankly, this is the only language that will explain the tribulation right now, abstract and existential and the here and now. So Donald Trump is the trigger of kingdoms against kingdoms. Donald Trump is the reason why Hamas attacked Israel. Donald Trump wanted to give to Israel, beyond the fact that I'm a Zionist who believe that the two-state solution is no solution at all. You can give Hamas or the Islamic people all the land in the world. You're not going to be able to change the years and years of hatred, of war, of death that will be generational. Giving Hamas a land or the Palestinians their own land is not going to solve the problem. And even though that's not my position is that the land belongs initially, it was governed and deeded in the Bible to the Jews. But having said that, because of Donald Trump's presidency and pouring out, if you will, his trying to fleece the Jews and to stand by Netanyahu, who was also criminally indicted, Hamas and the Palestinians realized that Donald Trump will wipe Muslims off the face of the earth. Donald Trump made in some earlier statements that Muslims were not even welcome in America. So they realized that now I'm not condoning anything that the Muslims have done. I think October the 7th, what I refer to as the Sabbath Day War, is treachery beyond genocidal treachery. But without Donald Trump, that war would not have taken place. Without Donald Trump kissing and hugging and smooching Vladimir Putin, the Ukrainian war would not have taken place. Without Donald Trump, the assault on the Temple of Democracy, which was war against this government, as if it was led by Jefferson Davis and Andrew Jackson and the Confederates themselves. Donald Trump is the trigger of the tribulation. He's the trigger of the tribulation with respect to the political aspect of it. And so is Barack Hussein Obama, and I'm going to get to him. But when you see Donald Trump, realize you're looking at the fulfillment. He is the one that removes the abstractness from the prophecy of Jesus and puts a face on it, puts a name to it, puts a body to it, so there can be kingdoms against kingdoms, nations against nations, etc. You will notice, if you have not been overwhelmed by all of this, that the one thing that Donald Trump does, because he is a trigger of the tribulation, he has aligned himself with nations that are ungodly and unchristians. Every ungodly nation that has power, every unchristian nation, every nation that denies the efficacy, the blood of Jesus, that denies the Bible, he has called the leaders of those nations great men. Viktor Orban of Hungary, Kim Jong-un of North Korea, Xi Jinping of China, Vladimir Putin of Russia, and the list goes wherever. Listen to me very carefully. Listen to this, and you'll learn something. Every ungodly nation, every nation that denies Jesus has come in the flesh. Every antichrist nation, every atheist, non-believing nation, Donald Trump has praised. Donald Trump has praised and has pledged to give his support to those nations against the Christian nations. Now, I'm not saying that Finland and Norway and Germany and England and Italy, that they're all, righteous nations, but they are in the context, they're Christian. If you just listen, take the time to listen, you can see clearly for yourself. This is the second most evil man that has ever walked upright on planet Earth. Now, he wasn't always that way. Somebody else could have been chosen, but he got chosen not long ago to carry out this mission, and he's carrying it out. But if you just listen to him, get beyond the if you will, all the chatter and what they're saying about him in the media, and look at what he's doing. He's exalting every godless nation. He's exalting godliness. And what he did in terms of the reason why he tied tightly to Israel is not because the evangelicals love Israel the same way I love Israel. The Jewish people, I love them as well. Evangelicals do also. But that's not his reason. Trump doesn't know the Bible and doesn't really care doesn't care anything about that history. Trump wants to annihilate the Muslims. And let me tell you why. Because Muslims are of, if you will, the Hamite persuasion. Trump does not see them as white or Japheth or Jewish. He doesn't. When Trump sees Muslims, as far as Trump is concerned, there's not 2 cents worth of difference between an African and a Muslim. For him, and when he looks through his blonde hair and his orange hair and his blonde and orange painted face, Trump does not see 2 cents worth of difference between a Muslim and an African or a Haitian. And that's just how he sees the world. He doesn't see that they're Hamites. He doesn't know anything about that. All he knows is that they're not Japheth and they're not, if you will, Shemite. That's all he knows. So he's left to think that they're basically black. Now, that doesn't mean he's racist in that regard or that I'm pointing up the racism. But what I want you to see is the structure of what Jesus talks about, and it looks like he was just speaking about it in the abstract, but there have to be people that will actually fulfill what Jesus is saying. There have to be people that will actually come on, and Trump is that person. Trump is the person that is the trigger of the tribulation, and Trump is the person that have actually caused war here in America. On January, we call it, there's a war of 1812. The British attacked and the lower areas attacked America in 1812 after 1776. There should be labeled the January 6th War, the 6th of January War, because that's exactly what it was. And Trump is the exact, if you will, he's the expediter of that particular prophecy that Jesus spoke. Nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. And he wants to lead America. And the sad part, well, I don't know if it's sad, it's stupid. The stupid part of this is that you've got the Japheth evangelical Southern Baptists bowing down to Trump, leading them to godless leaders like Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, Viktor Orban. You got these so-called, it shows you that how far away from God the Southern Baptists, the evangelicals are. I mean, they are following Trump down the road to atheists, to ungodliness, to, if you will, agnostics, if to be mild about it. The evangelicals, the Southern Baptists, the white Christians, the Japheth Christians are following Trump to North Korea. They are following Trump to Vladimir Putin, to communism. They are following him hook, line, and sinker. And not just following him to be a part of it, but they're now willing to use this atheist, ungodly Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, Viktor Orban to fight against America, a Christian nation. But you have to open your eyes, and most people don't and can't. But that's who he is. He's a trigger of the tribulation. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining Obama. I spent 10 years talking about him as the son of Satan. Trump is the servant of Satan. Obama's the son of Satan. But Obama has ripped and stripped Christianity and not so much righteousness, but Bible belief, Bible dependency, belief in God, the worship. That's gone from America. It's gone. It's gone like Willie in the train station in the movie A Raising of the Sun with Sidney Poitier. It's gone. Christianity is gone, if you will, in terms of the Hamites, Jewish, liberal Democrats. On the other hand, Christianity of the Southern Baptist evangelical, Trump has taken that part. So if you step back, you don't have to believe my analysis. You don't have to believe me. It doesn't really matter. Just continue going down the road you're going down. But if you take the time and intellectually listen to what I have said about the structure of the abstract verses that then become a supplier, someone puts those verses in an existential way. Someone puts those verses in a reality. Those verses, wars, rumors of wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, earthquakes in divers places, famines and pestilence and false prophets. Who is it that puts actions, face, names, and spill blood to those words? Who is it? Obama and Trump, but Trump in particular, in terms of the tribulation. I wanted to be able to say those things. I was waiting for him to say as well that after the courts lowered his bond amount, that he had the money. He still skirted around it. Well, we got cash, we got bonds, we got security. He didn't specifically say. He said then at one point he said he got cash. My concern is, and I'm through with you, is when I heard earlier today that the appellate division had lowered the bond from $464 or $454 million to $175 million. They did it simply because they know that Trump doesn't have the money. And it would just be too much and too embarrassing for America to have to start taking down Trump's buildings. Ultimately, they're going to have to do it anyway. But they lowered the bail, not because they were showing mercy to Trump, they were showing mercy to America in general. To start foreclosing those properties, snatching those properties, would have just been a whole lot of Trump taking advantage of it, America looking bad across the world scene over in England. You've got cancer with Charles and Catherine, and you got all kinds of other, and then America is looking to take down all these buildings illegally. It was just been so the judge lowered it because they know he doesn't have the money. He doesn't have it. They gave him if you will, they gave Trump an affirmative action bond amount. I don't know if he's going to be able to come up with $175 million. I don't know. Maybe he will. Maybe now that the amount is lower, some bond company, some insurance company may decide to take him on. But they didn't do it for him. They did it for America because we would be consumed with it. And that's who Trump is. He's the consumer. He is the spreader. He is the progenitor of confusion like you have never, and chaos like you've never seen before. Let me appeal to you. Take the time to read Matthew's Gospel, chapter 24, down to verse 12, where the love of many waxes cold. And you'll see there's an absolute structure that looks like it's in the abstract. But there will be people who will fulfill, there will be men and footprints that will fulfill every word that Jesus spoke. There'll be some demon, some devil, some serpent, some hellraiser, some false prophet, some Joel Osteen, some Kenneth Copeland, some T.D. Jakes. There'll be some Creflo Dollar to fulfill every breath that Jesus spoke regarding false prophecy, nation against nation, and kingdom against kingdom.